What is up, guys? Welcome back to another modern video here. Today I have something so exciting for you, and I imagine if you watch my channel, or maybe this is your first time, but you know, I do a lot of gameplay with blue-based magic, and if you like blue-based magic, Jace the Mind Sculptor is this card that we all wish we could play in Modern. At least us blue mages, right? We wish we could use its 0 ability to brainstorm every turn, or we use its plus ability to fate seal our opponent, you know. And there's a lot of things we wish we had in Modern, and Jace the Mind Sculptor is one of them. You know, but Jace the Mind Sculptor's abilities are actually, you know, effects that we've never seen in Modern, right? There's that Brainstorm effect, right? Draw 3 cards, put the 2 of your cards in your hand on the top of your library in any order. That's the kind of effect we've never seen in Modern until Rivals of Ixalan. So, with Rivals, this card called Riverwise Augur was released, where when Riverwise Augur enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. So again, this is the first time we've seen this type of deck manipulation effect in Modern. And as we've seen in Legacy, this combination of stacking your deck with maybe your worst cards and then shuffling them away with Flooded Strand is very powerful. Obviously, it's much more powerful when it's stapled on a 1-mana instant. However, Modern is a very different format, and you can play different kinds of games in Modern. So, this type of effect stapled on a 2/2 body for 4 mana could actually be very powerful. Let's not forget that Miracles was very recently on top of the Legacy metagame, and some will argue that it's still quite powerful. And this is because you can put, you know, whatever cards you want from your hand on the top of your library, and then you can cast them off the top of your library as you draw them for your first turn. At the first card you draw in your turn, right? That's the Miracle. You may cast this card for its Miracle cost when you draw it if it's the first card you drew this turn. Same thing for Terminus, right? So this is a finisher in Treat the Angels. You create X 4 white angel creature tokens with flying. And then you also have Terminus, which is a very cheap board sweeping effect. So while these cards are very powerful, normally you can't play them if they're stuck in your hand. You know, you have to have some way to put them back on top of your library. And now we have something we can do that with. However, just this interaction isn't quite enough, right? We want to kind of just keep going through our deck, keep drawing cards, and we want to brainstorm every turn. So what do we want to do? We want to create our very own Jace the Mind Sculptor. And Venser, the Sojourner, is what allows us to do this, right? So you play a Riverwise Augur, you use its benefits, shuffle your deck, put away bad cards, keep good cards, and then you do it again next turn. You exile target permanent you own, return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step for Venser's +2. So you target Riverwise Augur, and then at your end step, you get another Brainstorm. So obviously, it's quite a mana-intensive play, but this is more or less the way that you seal the deal on the game, as well as a way to find answers and stabilize. So what's nice about drawing cards is that you always want to draw cards. You always want to find answers. You always want to configure your hand. The question is it too fast or too slow? So ideally, we want to put this kind of shell, this Miracles, Brainstorm shell in a deck that lets you make it that long and not, be nearly dead. And so that shell is perfect in the blue-white shell, control that is dominating a lot of Modern, So we have a base of 4 Serum Visions, a great turn 1 fixer, draw a card, and then scry 2 to fix for lands or spells or whatever you need for a certain matchup. Path to Exile, premier white removal spell. We play 4 of those. We play 4 Spreading Seas because the land destruction, or the land hate aspect of blue-white control is very powerful. And what's nice to note here is that this is actually, kind of a synergy with Venser. If you've seen Felidar Guardian in action with Spreading Seas, you'll know that Venser works just about the same way. You exile your Spreading Seas, and then it comes back into play at your end step, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw another card. And so Venser allows you to reset those Spreading Seas, maybe on even better targets later in the game, as well as draw a card. Then, of course, we have Snapcaster Mage, because Snapcaster Mage is just a great value creature. We play 2 of it. Obviously, we don't have that many things to flashback, at least not early, so we only play 2 of it. Then we also play a 1 of Search for Azcanta, because Search for Azcanta, while we don't play as many Planeswalker finishers as regular blue-white control, you can still find some pretty key pieces for the deck. But again, we play a bit more creatures than normal, so we only play 1 Search for Azcanta. And then What I like to have is 2 Vendilion Click in here because when we're playing with these like 4 or 5 mana sorcery speed effects, Vendilion Click is really important to help actually like push them out in the sense that you can disrupt your opponent and kind of bait a counter spell or maybe like a lightning bolt or something like that, or disrupt your opponent for a turn, and that gives you enough time to cast your Riverwise Augurs. What's nice is that Venser can also, once again, blink Vendilion Click, and you can keep reusing its effect, targeting your opponent, and let's remember, you can also target yourself. Alright, we also have Detention Sphere, 2 of. I really like Detention Sphere with Venser. You can reset Detention Sphere on different troublesome permanents throughout the game, and it's especially backbreaking against things like Lingering Souls. You know, you can take the souls, your opponent plays souls again, you Venser, blink Detention Sphere, and you retake the souls. If your opponent plays the same creature that you Detention Sphered earlier, Venser comes in, resets Detention Sphere, and grabs up both of them as it comes back into play. And then we also play a 1 of Supreme Verdict, because 3 Terminus, while great, sometimes you just want that hard 4-mana counter, and that's what Supreme Verdict does for us. And then, of course, we play 3 Cryptic Command, because Cryptic Command is one of the best ways to, you know, kind of seal the deal on a game when, let's say, we've developed Riverwise and Venser the Sojourner locked up, and we've got 6-7 mana. We want to be able to hard counter our opponent's spells. And I don't know if I covered Logic Knot, but Logic Knot does just about the same thing, but a little bit earlier, and is also not dead in the late game. Our mana base will use 4 Colonnades because it's a great finisher. We are a little bit light on finishers, so Colonnade is really important to have 4 of. We play 4 Field of Ruin. Again, this is a premier land destruction spell that came out in Ixalan, not Rivals of Ixalan, but Ixalan, and it has, you know, incredibly increased the Tron matchup as well as the Valakut matchup, and just in general. It's also a shuffle effect for Riverwise Augur. Then we play 4 Flooded Strand, and then we play 1 Polluted Delta, 1 Scalding Torrent, so that's 6 fetches to make sure that if we put something bad on the top of our deck, we have a good chance of being able to shuffle it away. We play 1 Hollowed Fountain as a fetch target. We have an Irrigated Farmland also as a fetch target, but the fact that you can cycle at instant speed means that if you put a Terminus on top of your deck, and you know it's there, you can actually cycle this at instant speed, and then draw Terminus on your opponent's turn at instant speed, and you can actually cast Terminus, which is an interaction that, you know, comes up in Legacy a lot because of Brainstorm, but there's a little bit less of that kind of, you know, instant speed draw effects in Modern. But this kind of gives us the off chance of enabling that little combo. Then we play about 7 basics to make sure we have targets for Field of Ruin and our fetches. And I also like to have here one of Temple of Enlightenment, because sometimes Venser is just going to come down on a board by itself, and having a Temple of Enlightenment to blink to at least scry 1, get some sort of value out of him, is really important in my eyes. Anyways, that's the main deck. Hopefully I covered that well enough for you. In terms of the sideboard, we have 2 Dispel, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 1 Negate, 1 Ceremonious Direction. So we have this kind of counterspell suite in the sideboard for a wide range of matchups. You know, Tron, Affinity, Combo, Storm, Control. There's a lot of different things going on here. I have 2 Celestial Purge in the sideboard here to be able to hit Blood Moon, Liliana, Death Shadow decks, and things like that. 2 Rest in Peace because graveyard decks are kind of troublesome for us. Stony Silence helps against the Affinity, Tron, Lantern matchup. 2 Kitchen Finks I actually like in terms of our life gain spells for the burn matchup because it combos really well with Venser. If you can get to that point of the game where you start blinking Kitchen Finks, it's lights out, right? And then 1 of Settle the Wreckage because it's nice to diversify your sweeper suite against decks like humans out there, and it also gives us some percentage points against Dredge. That's the deck I'm looking for, right? So it lets us be able to exile Dredge's attacking creatures, and thus they don't recur constantly. Okay, now that I covered that, this is actually my like 4th or 5th time doing this deck tech, so I actually recorded an entire, you know, Under the Microscope series with this deck already, but it turns out that the sound didn't come through, unfortunately. So what I want to say is, if you like the next few matches that you watch when I play this deck, let me know if you want me to take the matches that I played before and then like voice over them if you really enjoyed that content, or if you just want to watch me play with this deck again, I would be happy to do that. But You know, before I was kind of iffy on if the deck would perform, but I was actually able to beat elves, which is not that surprising considering we have so much, you know, sweeper effect and things like that. We actually were able to beat Storm and Tron. You know, so I was really excited to see the deck perform, and I really wanted you guys to see those games, but unfortunately, I did not save the sound for some reason. Anyways, that's all I have for you, so stick around for the first of 3 matches of this Under the Microscope series with a deck that I like to call Make Your Own Jace the Mind Sculptor. See you soon. Alright guys, before I let you go to watch the first match of the series here with Blue-White Make Your Own Jace the Mind Sculptor, I just want to mention this is me adding, you know, after the fact. So I've already finished the 3 matches, you know, when I'm recording this and when you see this, but what you see in front of you is actually, you know, the first iteration of the Blue-White Jace the Mind Sculptor deck. And I actually had a friend, you know, play through with this deck in a modern competitive league, and they went 5-0, and they beat pretty competitive archetypes, you know, going through that. Obviously, this is the first iteration of the deck, what you see in front of you right now. The version that you'll see me playing is the second iteration of the deck. And the third iteration of the deck can be found in the description below, and you can keep up with that in real time. That's going to be on an MTG Goldfish decklist link, and you can keep up with that as I make changes, as I make updates to the deck. And if you're really interested in this archetype, you can see where it's going over time. But what you see in front of you is the list that went 5-0. Hopefully it gets posted, you know, on the Wizards website, and you can all see it there as well. You know, but if for some reason they never end up posting it, you can catch it right here, right in front of you right now. There might have been one discrepancy. I think maybe he played a second search for his Kanta. I'm not sure what he cut, but overall, this was basically the build that went 5-0. So this deck has promise. You'll see that it has promise in the upcoming matches, and hopefully you just enjoy the gameplay and take it for what it is, and understand this is an archetype that's growing and brewing, and it's definitely made viable with some of the things that have come out. And you know, it's growing. That's all I'm going to say. So enjoy the upcoming match here against, I think it's Mono White Death and Taxes, and I will see you all very, very soon. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the first match here with Blue-White Make Your Own Jace the Mind Sculptor. Hey, you too, buddy. Let's take a look at our opener here. Got a fetch, 2 fetches, Riverwise Augur, Snapcaster Mage, Serum Visions, 3. Yeah, this is a key. Oh, excuse me, guys. Sorry, headphone users. A Ganjo Castle. Aether Vial. All right, looks like this is Death and Taxes, most likely. I'm going to go ahead and lead on Serum Visions here. Okay, so we don't need more of this effect, right? We just need to hit natural land drops, because if our opponent plays Leonin Arbiter here, we may be just forced to Path to Exile it right away. And that's not a position we want to be in, right, as a control deck. Pathing a threat so early. Oh, man. Opponent's got a pretty decent start going, though, so that's nice for them. Field of Ruin. Hey, that's a good card. Thalia. Okay. That's pretty good. I kind of want to go ahead and crack my fetch right away. Get like an island. I don't want to get like punked by like Aether Vial on 2. And we can go ahead and take a hit here from Thalia for 1 turn. I don't think we're under any particular pressure here. Ghostgore is really scary when potentially in conjunction with Leonin Arbiter here. as we could be cut off our land pretty quickly. I guess we do have a choice here. We don't have to take this hit. We could just path it, but I think we just want to wait until end of turn, see what happens before we make any decisions. If my opponent flashes in Leonin Arbiter and they Field of Ruin something, I'm just going to go ahead and Path to Exile. Thalia is going to tax our spells pretty effectively for the rest of the game, so I just want to make sure that that Thalia is off the board. If my opponent wants to go take the opportunity to flash in Arbiter here, I totally understand them, but obviously they would want to do that after they fetch, sure. Alright, they do have the Arbiter. I guess we could have played around that, but chose not to. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and keep up 2 mana for Ghost Quarter effect. I can activate Leonin Arbiter's ability and response. But our opponent has an Aether Vial on 3 and some land destruction. That's kind of a bummer. Especially because we're at 14. That's quite a low life total. So we're going to be banking on our sweepers pretty heavily here. Our opponent taking up this Aether Vial of 3, almost assuredly that they have like a sweeper. I want a sweeper. They probably have Flicker Wisp in their hand, is my guess. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and pass the turn. D-Sphere is okay. I think I'd rather just Serum Visions here. Again, make sure I can keep this up here. Spreading Seas, we can bottom pretty easily in this matchup. Terminus seems like a great card to keep on top, though. It's going to be a cheap, efficient way to answer this Leonin Arbiter. If my opponent wants to vial in like a Blade Splicer, that's even more value for us. Sure. They could also flash in, say, like a Flicker Wisp, hit one of our lands. Ooh, Displacer, huh? Displacer actually is not that scary considering what we have on top of our deck. And that may just give us enough time to prolong the game, just a little bit. But looks like this might be... Well, Mono White taxes place Eldrazi Displacer too, so... I'm not particularly shocked by, this turn of events at the very least. Okay. Excuse me. Now, we do want to watch our life total here. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about this attack, but just want to make sure we don't get wrecked by something here. I don't think we need to stop on our draw step. I think, Terminus will reveal. It's going to be interesting to see if my opponent wants to do something here. Huh. Ah. That would take away our Terminus, right? That is so awkward. Because we can't float white in our draw step. Why didn't I use that to pay for? I'm dumb. Oh my gosh, wow. That's a new arbiter, that's a new... Yeah, now that I don't really want my Terminus to be on the top of my deck now. Oh my god. Oh, I guess I couldn't have even... Yeah, it was already on there. Oh my gosh, that was a horrible turn of events. I'm not quite sure what our out is anymore, and it's so crazy how these colorless lands are just not free, right? Yeah, if my opponent puts even more power on the board here, I'm super dead. Alright. Alright. Our opponent got it. I'm not sure if we misplayed there. I guess it was pretty likely they had Arbiter, and that Arbiter really blew us out. So, how do we beat Arbiter? Ceremony's Direction is interesting. I don't think that's worth it. A lot of the stuff that we have here is not worth it. I like cutting some number of Spreading Seas here. Although it is an early game play that we can just cantrip towards something. I like cutting Logic Knot. Maybe one Cryptic. Actually, let's keep all the Cryptics, cut one Spreading Seas. Okay. It's a little top heavy here, but I think it'll do the trick. Okay. Yeah, this hand's fine. Some nice natural colored land drops. I'm going to go ahead and just fetch out here right away. Get a Hollowed Fountain, shock it in, and just Serum Visions here. I kind of want both of these, so I'm going to go ahead and keep both of them. Next turn, I'm probably going to go Spreading Seas. Maybe not Serum Visions. Tech Edge, I kind of want to... Yeah, if they have Aether Vial, I kind of want to Spreading Seas that Tech Edge. So we still don't have a second white source, but got a lot of potential sources in our deck, so not too worried. Let's see if our opponent kept a potentially greedy start here. Looks a little bit... Ooh, Spellskite, huh? That's cool. Venser, okay. Let's go ahead and start with Serum Visions. Bottom. Let's go ahead and top that. There's an argument for playing the Flooded Strand here to have another white source to not get caught up in some weird thing like that happened last turn there. Do they have a 1-drop here? Thraben Inspector? Oh wow, they do have Thraben Inspector. Okay. That's a really good 1-drop. Then we even have the option, like, do we even want to Terminus? I guess if we didn't want a Terminus, we wouldn't have put it on the top. Although we do have Riverwise Augur to reset. I'm going to say yes here. And I'll go ahead and cast it. And we'll play a Flooded Strand. They want to tech edge my Hollowed Fountain. Oh, crack a clue. Also makes a lot of sense. Let's see if they want to tick their Aether Vial up here. Looks like it. Okay. Means I'm a little less scared of, like, getting arbitered out here. Spreading Seas is, of course, interesting, but we don't really have an opportunity to use it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play Riverwise Augur. Now we have this fetch up here as well. Wow, more Riverwise Augurs. I don't think we need that many. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the Spreading Seas back on top of my deck and likely fetch. And our hand is getting a bit clumped here with 4 drops. So we need to draw into some more cheaper spells. And I really hope so too, that this deck becomes a thing. Now we're trying. We are trying, but I don't think Death and Taxes is a very favored matchup for us, unfortunately, considering all their land hate angle of attack. Let's see if they want to tech edge us off of Hollowed Fountain here, or maybe they just want a Field of Ruin. And I think I would prefer Field of Ruin. We do want to be careful about Aven Mind Sensor. That's always a card that's on my radar. If they go and tap that Aether Vial for 3, I will happily crack that fetch, yeah. And again, I want to get a plane so that these tech edges don't screw us over. Eidolon of Rhetoric. Sure. Definitely not a bad card. Yeah, let's get another planes here. So yeah, that means we're not representing any blue mana this turn, but ultimately I don't think that matters all that much. Alright, so they're keeping their Vial on 3, which makes sense. Cathalia might be coming out here? Sure. So I kind of don't want to blow my verdict just yet. Click. It's an interesting draw. But I think I'd rather just keep up Cryptic Command here. Although Draw Step Click could give me a lot of information about what my opponent might be doing. Although it could kind of just be throwing it away considering we're on the verdict plan. So I think I'm just going to hold up Cryptic here. Okay, my opponent plays a 3-drop out of their hand here. Hopefully something that won't get too aggressive. Blade Splicer, sure. Okay. I was kind of hoping my opponent would Field of Ruin me. Alright, my opponent is going to attacks. I bet they just attack with their first strikers. Oh, wow, they attack with everything. No, okay. Yeah, I kind of want to see what they're up to. So the reason I'm doing this right now is to give myself the option of double blocking the Thalia. Wow. It's quite a good hand my opponent has. I kind of want to take the Flicker Wisp, but this Dusk Dawn, well, Dusk Dawn is, they're quite away from casting it. So I do kind of want to take away this Flicker Wisp here. And then double block the Thalia. So let's go ahead and take away Flicker Wisp. Yep, that's going to work out. We take 3, but hopefully our opponent plays out their other Thalia here. Opponent does have a lot of gas in hand. I mean, we do too, but their spells are cheaper. And again, each player can't cast more than one spell, so it's not like I can even bluff anything at this point. Thalia number 2, yep. And we know they have Eidolon of Rhetoric off the vial. Path to Exile, sure. I think we just start off here, though. Looks like my opponent just F6 through their whole turn, which is kind of nice for us, considering they did not play their Eidolon. It's also possible that they want to double spell this turn. So I'm not too worried about Dusk Dawn because we do have Cryptic Command that we can line up on a nice turn for it. We do know they're sitting on Eidolon, Smuggler's Copter, plus 2 unknowns. Okay, the Unknown Arbiter is a pretty good unknown. Hopefully not paired with like a Ghost Quarter here. Path to Exile, sure. I think I'm going to go ahead and Riverwise Augur here to put Entreat on top and start putting a clock on my opponent. Maybe even hit another land off my Riverwise Augur. Eidolon of Rhetoric, sure. I can just path on my opponent's turn. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So, if we want to go ahead and put Fetch on top, and then Entreat on top, we want to play a Colonnade. Oh, I guess they can hit Colonnade with Tech Edge, so that's not a particularly heads-up play there, but we can still make 3 Angels next turn, and I guess the Angels get hit by Dusk Dawn, but I'm not too worried about Dusk Dawn. And if they Tech Edge, that means they're definitely not Dusk Dawning. Right? So Eidolon Rhetoric is out of their hand. Smuggler's Copter is now out of their hand. Looks like they're not going to Tech Edge us here. Which is definitely going to be good for us. Question is, do we want to Path to Exile something? No. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and Path to Exile the Eidolon. And then they can't search up with Arbiter. Yes. I think I'm going to actually keep up Path to Exile here. In case they have Dusk Dawn and they want to rev up Smuggler's Copter, then at least I have some sort of answer. I think I could have swung in. Actually, yeah, I could have swung in with my Arbiter, but I mean with my Riverwise Augur. So all we know is Dusk Dawn in my opponent's hand at this point. And again, the reason I tapped this Colonnade was because they can Tech Edge it, like pre-combat, and oh wow. That's awkward. Tech Edging themselves. Or they're ghost coding themselves, but they did not pay 2 for Arbiter? So obviously we just let that happen because Arbiter is a 2-sided effect and our opponent just stone rained themselves. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that was definitely a got yourself moment. Thalia. Let's go ahead and just path to exile that Arbiter right away. I don't think my opponent's revving up a copter here. Nice. All right, looks like we stole game 3 there, or game 2. We're moving on to game 3. I really want to bring in Stony Silence because Aether Vial is such a beating, but I think our configuration is okay here. Our opponent showed us some interesting cards, but I don't think we can particularly play around some of them here. Wow. This hand is a bit top heavy. I would be very afraid of keeping this if my opponent keeps. But I think I'm also going to mulligan. Wow. Jeez. This hand is loaded with interaction. If we see a land right on top of our deck right now, we might be in an okay spot. Land. Yeah, I'll keep any land on top. Thalia would be a beating on my opponent's turn 2 here. God, Aether Vial turn 1 every game. Alright, turn 2 Thalia. Let's dodge it. Let's dodge Thalia. Let's hope our opponent has a non-functional hand because, wow, okay. 1 land. We can beat a 1-lander. I think. If our opponent's only playing off Aether Vial here, we might be able to at least compete with what our opponent's doing. But if we're stuck on 2 lands, we're definitely not competing with what our opponent's doing. 100% not. So we need to hit a land right now and land a Kitchen Sphinx, I think. Sweet. What's scary is my opponent does have 6 cards in hand, which is all non-lands. So if I'm not getting on board quickly and, you know, accruing some sort of tempo advantage, then I'm in rough shape. Okay, Aether Vial. Thalia. Yep. Played this game before. I know what's up. Okay. So it looks like they want to unload their 2-drop before the Vial trigger. And they still tick up to 3, though. Sheffet Dunes, okay. They do get to attack in with Thalia here. And we do get to say, okay, we'll take it. Yes. I did not expect it, but I will take it. Kind of a 2 for 2 because I put my Kitchen Sphinx away, but if we can get into a position where we can 1-for-1 our opponent, then we might be okay. Keyword is might be. Again, what was nice about last game is we were able to avoid Tech Edge because we had a basically basic land mana base going. D-Sphere would be fantastic here, right? Just catch these Aether Vials. We haven't seen D-Sphere once this entire match, unfortunately. Okay. Land is not the worst. It means we can at least Riverwise Augur. It does mean we're going shields down for a turn, but our opponent's not hardcasting anything, and I'm not sure how live our path to exile is going to be on this specific turn. Sweet. So we have a land, which is good, and we have Venser, which will help us accumulate an advantage. I don't think we need Venser right now. Although I do want to give myself the option of maybe Vensering, so I think I want to stack it like that. We could have Field of Ruin our opponent's tech edge on this turn instead, but I don't think that's a very good play. Sure, our opponent does have a 3-drop here, or else they wouldn't have ticked up Vile like that. So, sure, that is a threat, pretty good threat. But what's nice about Cryptic Command is that it can bounce that token and draw a card. What's good here is now we have a little bit of breathing space. We're at 20 life. We've made it to turn 5. Our opponent has some Aether Vials and a board, but we have mana developed. Our opponent's not taking us off all of our colors. And our opponent's just passing the turn, which is good for us, right? So here we could do the fun play of Venser the Augur. I think that's a little too spicy for my taste. I'm going to go ahead and just use Cryptic Command to bounce that Golem at end of turn. Alternatively, I could use it to bounce the Aether Vial. It really all depends on what my opponent does. I'm not going to make any decisions right away. It's possible my opponent has Smuggler's Copters in hand too, which is a card they would want to cast. And it's also a card that I don't want to resolve because it's quite annoying to deal with. It means I have to answer it on their time instead of my own, essentially. And I think here we take another 3 before we make any decisions. Again, it's possible our opponent could want to hard cast something here, and I want to be able to counter it. Sure. Alright, looks like nothing. Okay, so we'll just bounce and draw. Okay, so far so good. Serum Visions. It's a lot of Serum Visions, but we'll cast them one at a time. Does my opponent have a response to Serum Visions? A Terminus. Don't think we need the second Venser. I will happily take a Kitchen Finks though. So let's go ahead and Serum Visions once more. Click might be okay to fend off Flicker Wisp or just figure out what's going on in my opponent's hand. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that on top. But I'm going to keep the land on top first because we're getting to the point where it's possible that we may just need to hardcast this Terminus. I'm definitely not attacking with Augur. That's just like wanting to run into Athalia, and I don't want to run into Athalia, obviously. Alright, here comes a 3-drop. It could be an Eldrazi Displacer here. And Displacer would be quite powerful. Yep. But wow, they didn't blink. What? Why wouldn't they blink? What's nice is they really don't want to blink either of our creatures. But they're going to take an Aether Vial up to 3 on both, which is really very scary. Plus a land. Cross your fingers. What could they have here? They can't possibly be attacking, right? Yeah. Go ahead and Venser here. Target my Riverwise Augur. This will allow me to put Terminus back on the top of my... Whoops, nope. If my opponent wants to... They really can't stop this effect from happening, which is what I really like. I do have Path to Exile at the ready if they want to go Flicker Wisp on something. Sure. Definitely not attacking with Kitchen Finks. Just going to go ahead and get my trigger on end step here. Wow. I think I'm happy to put these Field of Ruins back on top if my deck gets shuffled for whatever reason. Although they are land drops, so maybe we put... No, I think the rest of our cards are that much better. The question is, do we want a Path to Exile Displacer here? I don't think so. I think we want a Path Displacer maybe at the end of my opponent's turn. So 3-drop here. What could mean trouble for us? Flicker Wisp is not that much trouble. We have blocks on the ground. Oh my god, we didn't put Terminus on the top of our deck. What am I thinking? Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, team. That was a punt. That was what I like to call a punt. Major punt. Wow, they're just going all in. I'm going to go ahead and path one of them here. Oh, gosh. This is a position I was really not hoping to be in at this point in the game. Because obviously Terminus next turn just, like, wins, right? We could hardcast Terminus next turn still, but we shouldn't have had to. So I think I'm definitely blocking a Kitchen Finks on one of the golems here. If my opponent doesn't want to tap down my Kitchen Finks. Wow, they're attacking with... Wow. That's aggressive. Okay. They might just be saying, like, they can't beat a Terminus. Or maybe they're going to tap down my blockers. Okay. Gain 2 life in the process. Everything going at Venser means I can't do anything to stop this. Interesting that they tapped their Tech Edge, right? Alright, so that was a very unnecessary punt for a game that was extremely winnable. So what I'm going to do here is first get in there for some damage because I can. It's interesting that our opponent decided to fire off all their creatures like that. So I'm going to go ahead and tap my Colonnades because those are the lands I would least prefer my opponent to Tech Edge. If my opponent wants to Flicker Wisp something here and save it, okay, let's go ahead and put first Riverwise and then Kitchen Finks on the bottom. Okay, definitely not stabilized like I wanted to, but we've got a loaded hand here. See what my opponent flashes in here for 3 mana. Hopefully not a Blade Splicer. Oh wow, I can't. Guess we want to upkeep that. so that if they draw a Flicker Wisp, that they don't use it. Nice enough that their graveyard isn't stocked in case they do have a Dusk Dawn or something like that. Okay. I think we're quite close to stabilizing here. We just have to dodge something big, something powerful. Thraben Inspector, I don't think is quite going to do it, but double Tech Edge definitely makes this game closer. Field of Ruin, huh? Okay, well, it's oh, we knew about that, right? Maybe we should have shuffled our deck in response. We do have Snap Cryptic, but Snap Cryptic's not necessarily that great in this spot. Yeah, I think we should have shuffled our deck at some point because we knew the two Field of Ruins were on top of our deck. Sweet, they're cracking their clue now, which could maybe give us an opportunity to Vendilion click something here. So let's go ahead and do that. This may prompt a Vial activation, for which we say sure. Hopefully not a Flicker Wisp, but we can deal with Flicker Wisp. Okay. Let's go ahead and target our opponent. Leonin Arbiter. Yeah, it's a threat, right? It's a card that we don't want to deal with. So let's go ahead and say no to that. Another Thraben Inspector. I mean, redraws are good, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and Snap Path the Flicker Wisp right now. Okay. Again, I want to do that right now so that if they draw, say, another Flicker Wisp off of their clue token, that, you know, I'm prepared to deal with that. But our opponent, you know, refreshed their hand pretty well here with these clues. Path to Exile, obviously a fantastic draw. I think the Snapcaster Mage is better off on defense. Yep, our opponent cracks a clue. Wow, they found something off of Aether Vial? Jeez. I guess you could say the same about us finding our path to exiles like this. Okay. So our opponent's going to take 3 here. They're running pretty low on clock, which is important to take note of here. So I'm going to take them off of this tech edge here. Let's go ahead and get another island. This means one of our colonnades will survive, most likely. I don't want to do it again in case they do play things like Restoration Angel. So now we can go ahead and wait. What we can do is, if our opponent wants to crack this clue here, then we can hit the other tech edge. Here we get a plains. And now our colonnades get to get in for a bunch of damage next turn. While our opponent does have a fresh hand, we do put them on a 2-turn clock. And we've already gone through so many freaking Flicker Wisps. Hopefully there's not more in our opponent's hand here. There's an argument to just getting that Sheffet Dunes right away, but I think our opponent's going to run out of time here. Actually, in case I draw like a Venser, I think Snapcaster is better off. Yeah, in case I draw a Venser, Snapcaster is way better off on defense here. Or, yeah. So I can like hit a Path to Exile or something like that. And looks like our opponent ran out of time, but I think we were pretty close to stabilizing there. Like, let's draw a card, see what happens. Alright, well, Magic Online doesn't want us to see our next card, but I think ultimately we would have been able to stabilize. I mean, our opponent has 3 cards in hand. We put them on a 2-turn clock. We were stabilized. I meant, like, we can put a clock on them, and they would need to be able to really, really apply pressure, like, very quickly, while also having answers. It would need to be, like, Flicker Wisp, like, back-to-back Flicker Wisp. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. That was the first match here with blue-white make-your-own Jace the Mind Sculptor against mono-white Death and Taxes, and we got there. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next match. I'll see you guys soon. Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the second match here with blue-white make-your-own Jace the Mind Sculptor. So many nice opponents today. You too, buddy, you too. Alright, looks like we have turn 2 Seize, turn 3 Click, and some clunky Miracles cards, right? So, that's a keep. We'll see what our opponent is playing. Looks like our opponent mulliganed, and they scry to the bottom. Polluted Delta could be just about anything. I think no matter what, we just lead on Hollow Fountain, tapped, and we say go. So this could be Blue Moon, this could be Grixis Death Shadow, this could be Storm. We really have no idea what we're up against right now. So let's just go ahead and take it step by step. Wow, so definitely not what I expected to see out of my opponent here. Blooming Marsh, probably Sultai. Depends what kind of Sultai build my opponent is on, though, right? It could be like Sultai Delve. It could be Sultai mid-range. Could be 4-color. Okay, looks like our opponent, the jig is up. The jig is up. So our opponent gets to take one of these 2 cards that just don't do anything right now. We get the Spreading Seas, probably their green source. I'm going to go ahead and actually fetch a basic island here because, I don't know, I think it's going to be good for us. But yeah, I want to hit their green because usually green is more important. And wow, we hit the Riverwise Augur, which is actually really awesome if we need to Terminus. Well, looks like our opponent gets the Liliana if they want to here. Fulminator Mage, huh? What are we playing against here? Huh. Weird stuff. Weird stuff is happening. I'm going to go ahead and just play a basic. So unfortunately we can't Vendilion Click like we wanted to, but we do have Field of Ruin to maybe take them off of this color here, but with Polluted Delta, I'm sure they can find an Overgrown Tomb. Let's go ahead and bluff like we have a counter draw. Sometimes players will like go to their main phase 2 to see if the opponent is F6'd, and then they will play something on main phase 2. So right now, we're going to pretend like we have something, or at least not just give our opponent the 100% certainty that they can jam like a spell here. Wow, our opponent just completely 4-color, huh? It's a weird timing. Are they going to Lingering Souls us? Jeez. Walking Ballista for 2? What in the world, guys? I actually don't know what I am playing against in the slightest, so if you guys want to enlighten me, I will totally Totally understand. Question is, do we want to do this right now? Like, take him off of potentially white mana? Or do we want to keep him off of green? Because I have no idea what my opponent is playing again. What my opponent is playing, or what they're on, right? So, looks to be obviously a black base deck, though. I think I do want to hit their Godless Shrine. It does mean Lingering Souls, but maybe we can answer Lingering Souls just fine. Alternatively, getting them off of green seems interesting. I'm just going to go hit their Field of Ruin. Could have done this on their upkeep, actually. There's actually, the reason not to do it on their upkeep is if they have a 1-mana spell, plus they want a Walking Ballista, that's sorcery speed. So I guess that's kind of percentage points. But based on my opponent's greedy mana base, they might not... Wow, okay, so... green base deck of some sort? I honestly could not tell you guys. If they go ahead and just pump Walking Ballista, I would be happy to Path to Exile it. Sweet. So yeah, it gets in for 6 damage here. Wow, Breeding Pool. So they're 5 color. Okay. Alright. Slow the pace down here. I'm going to upkeep the Path to Exile. If they want to pump it as their whole turn, they are free to do so in my eyes. The issue is if they have, like, Stubborn Denial. Okay, no Stubborn Denial. Because they could have pumped Walking Ballista and activated it, but you always got to be afraid of Stubborn Denial these days. Looks like our opponent is playing a healthy amount of basics, though. Never mind. So why didn't they get us for that last point of damage? The world may never know. If they want to Thought Seize me here, sure, my hand is pretty stacked. My guess is they take Snapcaster Mage or Vendilion Click, depending on which one they think they can answer best. Because Snapcaster Mage isn't a great proactive play, but if they have a threat they want to jam, then they will take Snapcaster. But if they don't have a threat to jam, then they probably want to take Vendilion Click. But it looks like they have a threat to jam, so it looks like we're... Never mind. My analysis could be completely wrong. Serum Visions. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the luxury of playing that this turn. I think we want to disrupt what our opponent's doing. Gifts ungiven. What? 5-color gifts? Come on. They don't have white mana, though, for the Unburial Rites combo. So I guess that's kind of good for us. It would be interesting to see. Looks like they're probably just making a gifts pile, value pile. 5-color gifts, huh? Would be nice if we had 4 mana right about now. Looks like taking them off of white was actually going to be quite useful. And now we know what our opponent is playing, which at least makes life a bit easier for us. But their curve did play out quite nicely. I wonder why they have Walking Ballista. They could be also like a Traverse the Ulvenwald build too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, yeah, they already have Traverse enabled. Or Delirium, excuse me. Alright, we wait patiently for our opponent to figure out their gifts pile here. Gifts Ungiven, not an easy card to play. especially in a deck that's non-linear. You know, so like Storm, it's a little bit easier. Wow, Necrotic Ooze, Thoughtseize, Channeler Initiate. So I think, wait, let me double check Necrotic Ooze here. As long as Necrotic Ooze is on the battlefield, it has all activities of all creature cards in the graveyard. So I think I want to put Ooze in the graveyard, and I want to put maybe Fauna Shaman in the graveyard, and I'm okay if my opponent Thoughtseizes me. Yeah, because my hand is pretty dense, and we're gonna click them on their draw step. So Ooze, Fauna Shaman. Our opponent can keep a Thoughtseize and a Channeler Initiate. I'm going to go ahead and click them here, which I suspect that they saw coming. Devoted Druid, double Channeler Initiate. Yeah, this hand is totally not threatening. Sure. No white mana for their I guess Channeler Initiate makes them white mana. I would have if they're playing a Thoughtseize, they probably want a Thoughtseize first, but oh, I guess they just want to make a 3/4. Yeah, that's totally fine. My deck answers 3/4s pretty well, and my 3/4 or my 3/1 races your 3/4 better too. All right, interesting brew that my opponent has here. Looks like they decide not to even Thoughtseize. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and bash in here for 3 in the air. And now we can even Riverwise. Pew, 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 pew. Let's go ahead and put Terminus Second from the top. And let's hide our Venser as well from Thoughtseize. Again, I'm happy taking 3 here. If my opponent wants to hit me for 3 and then place the -1/-1 counters on this one here, post-combat, yeah, that's... You got it, buddy. Thoughtseize, go ahead. Yeah, like we're in a really good spot here. Our Vendilion slams for 3. We play a Riverwise Augur, set up for Terminus on our opponent's turn. Or, sorry, set up for maybe Terminus on our turn if we want. But our opponent does go down to 4 here. Or it goes to 7. We hit them for 3. They go down to 4. They're sitting on 1 unknown card currently. It's hard for me to imagine that they beat this. Right, because we could go Venser -1, swing for 5, then they're dead to click. Alternatively, it is a bit safer to just bash in here for 3 and play a Venser, uptick on Riverwise, and then block if need be with Riverwise. Because we don't have any instant speed interaction right now. But here we get a nice little brainstorm. Make your own Jace the Mind Sculptor, guys. So put on top. Put on top. Say go. Now we have lethal in play right now. And my opponent concedes. Makes a lot of sense. So Venser's -1 actually somewhat relevant there. So I have no idea what my opponent's really playing. It seems like some 5-color gifts pile. Rest in Peace seems to be okay against my opponent. Maybe it's just a value gift deck, right? So maybe like a Settle. Definitely want the Dispels and the Negate. Potentially Kitchen Finks, but I don't think Finks is that great. And maybe like one Rest in Peace, because they probably have the Unburial Rites combo. I feel like they definitely have the Unburial Rites combo. So let's think of what we might want to take out in this matchup. I like most of this stuff here. I like my sweepers. Maybe Settle's just too reactive against the Thoughtseize deck. And maybe Rest in... Nah, I feel like... I mean, maybe Rest in Peace just neuters us in a way we don't want. Maybe we just want to play them in the counterspell game. Alright, so let's sort by converted mana cost. What would we want to cut here? Search for Scanta is fine. It's a value engine. Maybe we want to cut one Click because it doesn't line up great against Walking Ballista. But Click is a nice proactive play. We did see blue. Maybe they bring counter magic. Cryptic Command is never great against counter magic. Maybe we can cut one Cryptic. And I don't want to cut Entreat. Entreat is fantastic. Spreading Sea seems great against a 4-color mana base. D-Sphere could be good, but I think we just want to keep our removal. This is tough. This is like the one, like, I don't know what one card we want to cut. Path seems quite important. Just go ahead and cut a Cryptic. I don't know if that's the kind of game we'll be playing against our opponent here. All right. Looks like we're on the draw. We have a keepable 7. Very keepable 7. This is going to lead on some hand disruption here. Do your worst, buddy. Do your worst. I have basics. I have my fun little combo here. Looks like they take Spreading Seas. Makes a lot of sense. So what's nice about Flooded Strand here is that it plays around Fulminator Mage. Field of Ruin is actually a really, really good draw. So I wonder if our opponent's playing the Devoted Druid combo here. I mean, we saw Devoted Druid, but how deep are they into the combo and how consistent are they? Fauna Shaman, sure. Again, I want to draw lands here. Oh, wow, that's quite a horrible draw. Fauna Shaman. So we did, they were a Necrotic Ooze deck, so maybe Rest in Peace is good against them. Yeah, maybe they're, oh, I didn't even think. They're probably like a Necrotic Ooze value deck. Are they swinging in for 2 damage with Fauna Shaman? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, yeah. Get in there, buddy. Devoted Druid, okay. Alright, things aren't looking great here. Let's go ahead and, well, would cutting them off of red be better? Or just, no, let's just, like, go after their green sources here. Get an island out of our deck. And that way we can keep this spell up if our opponent rips a blue source. So your opponent goes for their basic swamp instead of their basic forest. Worth noting. Our opponent has Thoughtseize here. Yeah, there's nothing we can do. Collective Brutality, also not much we can do against. Could be that our opponent has a bunch of cheap interaction and doesn't actually have. Yeah, we obviously can't dispel that. Maybe they just take Terminus here because that gets pretty ugly with Riverwise Augur. Yep. So now they have the choice. Do they Fauna Shaman here or do they swing for 2? My bet is they want to start, well, maybe not. I'm not my opponent. I'm not going to make any decisions for them here. Okay, they're just going to end step the Devoted Druid. Search for Scanta. Well, it's a card. It's a card that we can cast that lets us keep up Dispel. Alright, there goes Fulminator Mage. Seems like a fair ditch, considering we have no non-basics in play right now. See what our opponent wants to find here. Butcher of the Horde. Whoa. I guess that's a card that you can discard to Necrotic Ooze? Or discard, yeah, and then get Necrotic Ooze? That's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. I will give my opponent that. But I guess it only really has flying. Inquisition, yeah, sure. Take my Entreat. Go ahead and fetch here. Do they get a white source? Still can't jam the Butcher, though. They can get a black source and jam Necrotic Ooze. Get a blue source. Another Fauna Shaman, okay. A Terminus off the top would be nuts here. Guess my opponent's going to keep dirtling with Fauna Shaman. Put Island in the graveyard, no. We're definitely going to want to draw that Island. It's definitely scary if we just go Riverwise Augur here, but I think the upside is really high if we find a Terminus. They discarded the Butcher. Get a Necrotic Ooze, I imagine. Kiki Mirror Breaker. Oh boy. We're in for a ride here. So we get to put one of the cards from the top of our library into our graveyard with Search for Azcanta. So I think that's going to be one of the Vensers here. In which case we would want to put it right on top. Because right now we need Sweeper badly. Sure. Go ahead, discard Kiki. I guess Necrotic Ooze gets haste. Combos with itself? Huh. Alright. Well, it taps itself. Wait, what is my opponent doing here? Do they have something that can sacrifice another creature, gains vigilance, lifelink, or haste? Nothing that pumps it a bunch. Oh, they get to Devoted Druid. Okay, alright. You showed me, buddy. You showed me. Okay. Got it. I do see what you are doing now. So, Rest in Peace definitely seems like a card to bring in here. Maybe cut one of the Dispels because it's only really good against... Sell the Wreckage is kind of funny against Kiki, right? But ultimately underwhelming. Maybe with 2 Rest in Peace, we'll cut one of the Snapcaster Mages. Yeah, that seems fine. I do think we should be favored here, though. We have a lot of interaction with our opponent's doing, so that's a really cool deck my opponent's got. And yeah, that looks like a keep to me. Let's hopefully we can dodge turn 1 discard spell. No. Let's go bottom on the Augur, top on the land. Because I imagine if my opponent has a discard spell here, they're going to rip the Rest in Peace. Sure. But we have Augur plus Terminus, and we have Negate. So our hand is just very interactive here. Question is, do we want to keep up negate on turn 2? I don't think there's anything we're quite scared of on turn 2, so let's just go ahead and... yeah. Do we want another land? Maybe in the face of Fulminator Mage, but right now I think we're fine. I guess they could Collective Brutality here, which would be kind of annoying. Devoted Druid, sure. Are we going to want a Field of Ruin? We might. I don't think they're a turn 3 deck. Not through negate, maybe? Field of Ruin at least makes them think a little bit. Fixes our mana a little bit. If they Thoughtseize here, yeah, I'm going to negate that. Sure. If they don't have another land, wow, yep. I'm just going to get them. If they want to Fulminator me, that is totally fine. Just go ahead and Verdict. Sweep up this board before it gets out of hand. Looks like my opponent might have a hard time getting things going without some of their combo pieces here. Another Fauna Shaman definitely puts them back in the game, but they just don't have enough time. Like before, we didn't really have any pressure, removal, counters, anything. Sure. I'm going to rip my Terminus here. But they hit the land, which is good for them. Here, let's just go ahead and Riverwise Augur. Oh, it's not even a May ability. Like, I've been, like, playing this as if it's a May ability. It's not a May ability. Okay. Sweet. Don't really want to shuffle away some of my best cards, but in case... well, Polluted Delta doesn't actually get Path to Exile, so let's go ahead and put Path, Riverwise, hold up Dispel. Just in case they rip Blue Source and want to go Gifts Ungiven. Chandler Initiate. Okay. It's a card. Fixes their mana. I think I'm okay just slamming in here for 2. Keeping up Snapcaster Mage and Dispel. So Snap can hit Negate. Walking Ballista for 2? Oh, excuse me, guys. Yeah, I guess that's a thing. Plus land. So now, I think what I want to do is go ahead and shuffle my deck right away so I can keep up white mana here. Well, I think step 1 will just be to attack, right? My opponent might want to block here. Oh yeah, that's totally a trade I'm happy making. Let's go ahead and Riverwise Augur here. It's marginally better for me to have tapped my Colonnade, actually. Wow, so I don't want any of these cards. So let's go ahead and shuffle them away with Flooded Strand. Ah, that's awesome. So now our opponent doesn't really have a graveyard going, so not too worried about what they can do here. Thoughtseize. I don't think they combo me this turn, so I think I just say, okay, I don't think I path to exile this Channeler Initiate here. I always have Snap Path if I need it. Looks like Snapcaster Mage is gone. Devoted Druid is in. Let's go ahead and shuffle up our library a bit. Don't want to draw those 2 lands. Field of Ruin. Okay. We could just bash in with Colonnade. Still keep up Dispel and Path. Hold back a blocker. Put my opponent on a clock here. If I attack with Riverwise, they block with Channeler, add a mana, and then I'm out of luck there. Yep, so they can't actually shock that into play reasonably. 5 mana. Kiki doesn't. I guess they can. Oh no, they can only copy a creature they control. Huh. What? Ooh, I think I should have main phase 2 that. But what happens if I just path to exile Kiki right now? Yeah, I think that's fine. Right? They get a 3/4 with haste. Sure. Okay. Well, it's a game, I think, but I think we got it locked up here. Ooh, Logic Knot. Yeah, definitely got it locked up. Yeah, let's go ahead and, well, swinging with Riverwise doesn't actually do anything because they just block with the Channeler, and they go down to 1. We have Colonnade, so I guess we should have definitely pathed on their main phase 2, and it looks like our opponent is pretty dead on board here, right? And they decide to go out the fun way, which is cracking a fetch land while they're at 1 life. But yeah, it looks like that was the second match there, and we were able to beat 5-color Gifts Ungiven Necrotic Ooze stuff graveyard deck. And we didn't even need Rest in Peace to do it. We just, the power of fetches and fixing and Colonnade. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the 3rd and final match here with blue-white, make your own Jace the Mind Sculptor. I'll see you guys soon. Alright, guys, and we're back for the 3rd and final match here with blue-white, make your own Jace the Mind Sculptor. We won the die roll. Everything is going our way, except this opener. Heck no, get out of my face. This one's a little bit more respectable. Would love to see a land on top, then I will not fetch with this Delta. Although it depends. If yeah. Looks like my opponent's going down to 5, and they scried to the. We both scried to the top. So usually I like my chances when I'm against a deck that's scried to 5. Alright. Spreading Seas against the turn 1 island deck. Not too exciting. Could be just about anything. Opponent could be on Storm, could be on Blue Moon. I see an Opt here. Could still be Storm. Could still be like red, blue, Kiki / Through the Breach. See, did my opponent scried to the top? Alright. Again, no idea what I'm playing against here. I could play the farmland. Yeah, I think I do want to play the farmland. Could be an error, though. I could want to... Let's say my opponent fetches a non-basic here. I could want the Field of Ruin of that non-basic, fetch an island with my Polluted Delta, get a plains with my Field of Ruin, and that lets me play around Blood Moon. Ultimately, I can still play around Blood Moon a little bit here, but I don't know how much. Steam Vents, yeah, this is the sequence I'm worried about. Like, if my opponent goes Basic Island, Blood Moon. All right. So far, we dodged. We're dodging. And Logic Knot's a nice pickup here. So now we at least have Detention Sphere that can hit Blood Moon if it resolves. Because we'll be able to fetch up Basic with Field of Ruin and then also Basic with Polluted Delta. Deceiver Exarch, huh? So it looks like this is blue-red Kiki. I'm not going to fight over this Exarch here. But this could be quite a long game. So let's go ahead and just... play tight, is basically what I'm saying here. Alright, opponent. Ooh, that's definitely a land I want to Field of Ruin. 100%. Yeah, get that out of my face. Let's go ahead and get a basic plains here. Venser. Two options. We could go Field of Ruin. There are Steam Vents. They likely get an island. I think we're better off just passing the turn. I'm not too threatened by this Deceiver Exarch. Okay, my opponent wants to go Pestermite here. We'll see what they want to tap down. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit this. We can get a basic island here, and we'll have Logic Knot up. Sure. Let's see if our opponent hits yes, and sometimes it will untap the irrigated farmland. No. All right. Okay. Looks like we're okay here against Kiki Jiki. So Logic Knot's not great in the face of like Remand, but overall, I think we can take. Lightning Ball is definitely a scary card. Let me just say that. All right, but we could potentially lock our opponent out of red mana entirely. If my opponent wants to remand this, I think they're free to do so. If they want to cryptic it, I think they are not free to do so. Yeah. So the sequence we're dead to is another remand. Yeah, that's annoying. Like, we just turned on like all the remands in their hand essentially, and now we're going shields down for a turn. Might give them an opportunity to resolve a Blood Moon, which could make our life more annoying than it has to be. Serum Visions, okay. And now locking my opponent out of red seems a lot less likely. Wonder, okay, opt. It went bottom, bottom. Bottom with opt? Are they looking for land? Wow. Let's go ahead and Spreading Seas the mountain. Spell Snare. I think I'm okay logic nodding that. And then exiling 2 Field of Ruins. Let's see if we can keep our opponent off of red for a significant amount of time here. So playing Solving Time would be nice, you know, in the face of Blood Moon, but I'm a lot less scared of Blood Moon now that I feel like my opponent's digging for red mana. And then next turn, we can go ahead and sweep up the board, keep up Path to Exile. Well, let's turn off auto yields here. Definitely don't want a Path right now, though. Path definitely feels bad in the face of locking my opponent out of a color. So, well, actually, I have to cast Double Way here, right? Getting low on life total is definitely an issue against blue-red Kiki. Because, again, they just have closing power with Bolt, Snap, Bolt. I mean, we're at 9. That's 2 bolts and a snap away, right? And our hand is not well equipped to attack those kinds of plays from our opponent. Obviously, we're slowing them down with this Spreading Seas on their mountain, but we're not necessarily stopping them from playing Magic. And that's what we ultimately want to do. I imagine my opponent's considering Cryptic Command on one of their creatures and draw a card. I think in the face of that, I will cast Path to Exile. Denies them a draw, gets them red mana, but can't do much about that, really. And I imagine that they have another mountain in their deck. No other mountain, huh? Well, that's good. So we got to blank, basically trade a Path to Exile for a Cryptic Command, and then we traded a Verdict for 2 creatures. I'd say that's a good day. So what I want to do here is cast my Riverwise Augur. Obviously, my opponent's keeping up mana. There's not much I can do about that. Snapcaster Mage, sure. Remand, yep. Now he comes back to my hand. Opponent gets to put me down to 7. There is definitely an argument to just attention sphering here, because our life total is so low. So it's kind of a 2-for-1, unfortunately, but if we can make it just a little bit further, we may have a chance at winning this game. Ultimately, I think we are a little bit not favored, considering our ways to win the game are by casting 4 and 5 mana sorcery speed threats. Although drawing a Vendilion Click could very easily be a way we can get ourselves out of this. So opponent goes top. I'm guessing they found some red sources or some cards that are good enough to keep. So Jace, the Mind Sculptor, is probably a card that would not be very good against my opponent if it was actually legal. And looks like my opponent just found the red source. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 mana next turn. Maybe they're thinking of like jamming Keranos here. Obviously, I'm just gonna go Riverwise Augur again. If my opponent has another counter spell for that, I'm gonna be in some deep booty here. Oh my god, kill me now. It's okay, we've been on the giving end of remand, snap, remand so many times. So it's only fair, right? Sure. Yep. And unfortunately here we'll just have to go and fetch a basic island. Can still cast the Riverwise Augur, but we don't get the old fetch value. I do think it's a card that we really need to get out of our hand because it's quite stranded in there. Spreading Seas doesn't seem great, although neither does Venser. Worst case scenario, Spreading Seas is a redraw on like a Steam Vents here. And it looks like that's what's happening. Opponent's got a Steam Vents. Are they going to go Bolt, Snap, Bolt on my face? Or are they going to go like Keranos? Because I think they're in a pretty good spot. No matter what they do, they're up on cards. They're up on, I would say, board presence even. Up on life totals. Definitely threatening. But at least we know they're the Kiki build before we go to sideboarding. Red, Electrolyze. Okay. That's definitely one of the less threatening plays my opponent can make with a red mana. Okay, well, there's another red mana. Blood Moon. Okay. Not super threatening right now. That's still an island. These two are mountains. Interestingly enough, we can flicker Detention Sphere. Wow, we can actually do like everything we want this turn. So 1, 2, 6, 9 mana. Yeah. You go, have an island, buddy. No more red mana today. Here you go. Heard you like blue mana. Huh. Well, getting Venser online seems to just be better. My opponent can go ahead and target whatever they want, but it doesn't matter. So we find a good turn here to scoop up these 2 Snapcaster Mages, keep my opponent off of red mana for just a little bit longer. Yes. All right. That's a red mana. No. All right, I think the plan is just tick up here. My opponent could have just Bolt, Snap, Bolt here and we're dead. But we're not going to play around that too much. Let's go ahead and draw a card. Hopefully we find like a counter spell or something. That's something. Okay. Opponent found something to play here that might be threatening. Opt. Let's see how they scry. Go to the bottom. Always a good thing to see here. We could... Alright, well, there's another mountain. Pretty good for our opponent. My hope is they're sitting on a bunch of Kiki right now. And crying. Oh my god, no. Stop. Stop it, deck. Let's start with Serum Visions before we make any plays here. Remand? Yeah. Let's go again. They've used up 1, 2, 3. 3 of their remands. Wow. Definitely don't want these lands, for sure. So we could hit Blood Moon here with the Detention Sphere. Does that accomplish anything at all? It would still have the same number of red sources. They would just have to fetch this red source, but then I can Field of Ruin them off of that. I'm going to go ahead and try to cast it. Oh my god, why would I tap the Field of Ruin if that's my plan, though? Oh my god. Another remand. Okay. In that case, let's just go ahead and get some value. Now we're threatening to ultimate this Venser next turn. Jeez. All the Terminus. All the Terminus. Okay. Man. Opponent's got plenty of red mana here. Looks like they're gonna go for the Kiki. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. This is more than I ever expected Venser to accomplish here. Question is, does my opponent have Cryptic Command? Wow, Path to Exile solves a lot of my problems. A lot of my problems. Again, let's not tap the Field of Ruin. I desphere the Blood Moon. I hit their Spreading Seas on the mountain. And then I Field of Ruin, the Steam Vents, and then I Path to Exile here. Maybe I just want to start with Path to Exile. See what my opponent does. My opponent has a Cryptic Command here. Okay, no Cryptic Command. Let's go Detention Sphere. I'm going to target the Blood Moon. So before I activate Field of Ruin, I do want to see what I draw off of Venser. So if I draw like a cryptic, oh my gosh. Do they have the bolt? Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm out of basics. Is my opponent out of basics? No. So my opponent got value there. Oh no. Oh no. Dillion click. Target me. Oh god. This is insane. I'm gonna guess they just leave us with everything in hand. I can't imagine they might take Entreat if they don't have an answer to it. I'm just wondering what my opponent is sitting on, if not like lethal threats or lightning bolts, or I mean they could be sitting on more Kiki Jikis here. That's definitely possible. Okay, so they took Entreat the Angels, which found us a Colonnade. The question is, how many more red sources, fetchable red sources, do they have? They hit 2 of their steam vents. They might play a 3rd. Obviously, I think if Click goes face here, we know what's going on. If Click hits Venser, alright, Click is going face. Well, we fought hard here, but sometimes you just can't beat a lightning bolt. What? 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 Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to emblem right away. 1, 2, 3, 8 mana. Choose a fencer to keep. That one. Oh man, targeting one of these spreading seas is so risky. So risky. So I think I'm actually going to target my island. Oh my god, this game is such a grind. Whoa. Whoa. And now we have Cryptic Command up, which is going to be really helpful for us. Okay. Snapcaster Mage. Serum Visions. Guess we start going after their islands here. Spell Snare. Okay, that's something they could have. I think I should have used my irrigated farmland for that mana. Oh god, being at 3 life against my opponent's deck here is an absolute nightmare. Oh, that's an irrigated farmland. What am I doing? Oh my god, guys. You're probably watching me like, that's an irrigated farmland. That's not the Temple of Enlightenment that you play in your deck for a very specific reason. Wow. Yeah, let's start with Serum Visions, and I guess we do want to start exiling these red sources Yeah, that's my mistake. I should be exiling these in case they draw like a cryptic command, and they can bounce the Spreading Seas. Sure. All right. So I actually like this extra Spreading Seas. It makes Venser pretty good, but I think I'm gonna go click first. And target my island. I can get another Venser emblem soon and really start exiling my opponent's cards. This is like living the dream, but also kind of not living the dream. Like, we also want to close out the game in a reasonable time frame, and this is definitely not a reasonable time frame, right? Let's go ahead and emblem again. Let's see what our opponent is playing with here. This is kind of stressful. Kind of very stressful. If my opponent cryptic commands this, do I respond? Our opponent's burning some very useful clock time here. Again, these control mirrors are just... Venser's running away with the game, but at the same time, we're so close to being dead that I'm just so worried. Okay. Okay, return target permanent to its owner's hand, draw a card. I think we fight over this. And we got 2 more Venser triggers. Hopefully we're not getting greedy here. And our opponent concedes to double Venser plus Cryptic Command plus Leak. Okay. What do I want to bring in against this deck? Definitely want to bring in Dispel. Very solid. Negate is also great here. Celestial Purge is interesting because it hits Blood Moon. So I think we bring that in because it also hits Kiki Jiki and Keranos. Disdainful Stroke is okay, maybe if we have things to take out. Same goes for Kitchen Finks. In terms of what we want to cut against our opponent, we probably want to cut like all of these terminuses. Maybe keep in one. Keep in one terminus. No, I think we cut all of them. I don't think that's the game we're playing against our opponent here. Venser obviously ran away with the game. Entreat, counters are always good. Cryptic Command in the mirror is kind of clunky. So let's go ahead and bring Dispel, Negate. Answers to Blood Moon are always good, so let's get a Purge in there. I think Disdainful Stroke is just a little too narrow, but I can understand if some people might want to bring it in. Kitchen Finks is a card like I do want to bring in because it's proactive, but it's also tapping out on our main phase, and it just eats a remand. So I'm going to head and run that back. Excuse me, guys. Looks like our opponent's not mulliganing to 5 this game. We'll keep. Excuse me, guys. I'm sure that's not a pretty sight for you to see. Yeah, let's go ahead and get Colonnade down. We could be a little soft to turn 3 Blood Moon here, but it is what it is. Did my opponent keep a one-lander? No, oh my god, I was going to say. Whoa. I was going to say, this game is ours. So, there's an argument here to Serum Visions or hold up mana. I think I'd rather Serum Visions, though. I think we can go ahead and put both of these on the bottom. And now we can keep a Path to Exile for Opt. Sure. Hopefully our opponent doesn't go untap Blood Moon, because that will be kind of rough for us here. My opponent shocks, fetches, then I'm a little bit scared, but it's possible that they sided out some number of Blood Moon in this matchup. Let's just go ahead and get a Field of Ruin down. This will allow us to fix our mana. We get to hold up this spell, plus Logic Knot here. Alright, opponent's going to crack their fetch. Get a Steam Vent, shocked. Okay. Looks like they're playing a Pestermite, sure. What is it going to target? Let's just go ahead and get a basic island. Again, throw our opponent's mana for a whirl here. Ah, man, I don't know if I would have dispelled that bolt there, but I would have liked the option to. And now we can Path to Exile that Pestermite and feel pretty good about it. Alright, no fourth land for my opponent. That is really rough in the control mirror to not hit your fourth land. But if my opponent has something like another Pestermite here, I think I'm actually going to counter it with Logic Knot. Because these Pestermites are worth a lot of damage. They're worth a lot of spells. Electrolyze, I think I'm actually okay with. So I want to go ahead and upkeep the Field of Ruin. Because I actually, excuse me, I actually do want to thin my opponent of lands before they draw. Sure. Feel free to opt my opponent. So I would have liked a Spreading Seas here at this point in the game for sure. And we did see one, but that was at a point where I don't think we had many lands, or at least colored sources. I think I do want to Path to Exile here. Again, I just really can't afford to take so much damage from this creature. My opponent's still got 5 cards in hand. They've got 4 lands. You know, it's anybody's game from this position. What I hope my opponent does is like burn Cryptic Command here, but looks like they're not going to. Does my opponent have anything scary at 4 mana? They don't play Chandra, do they? Pia and Kieran. Wow, okay. Wow. That is really good here. I really need to find Path to Exile right now. I did not play around Pia and Kieran Alar. We are a little bit screwed here. So we're gonna get smacked for 2 in the air. We have Dispel up, but it's just not good enough. I think we put ourselves in quite an awkward position, and we didn't have to. And now we're forced to play this like tap out game, or else we just lose to onboard threats. Yeah, that was a misstep on my part. Preemptively is one of those cards that can easily run away with the game. Yeah, I don't think there's any world where I'm dispelling that bulb, but maybe I should be. I go to 9. Opponent's got a loot house. Oh boy. Opponent can resolve some burn spells at my face now if they wanted to. So that's not what we needed to see here. I guess I hold up Colonnade to block in the way that least damages me. So Verdict would have been nice, but we do only have one of those post board. We only have one of those anytime, but my opponent just swings with everything. Yeah, that's really scary, but and activate Colonnade. Hope to not get like Cryptic Commanded here. I think I do block Pia and Kiranalar. Alright, we're at 6 opponent. You got the old bolt snap bolt up your sleeve. Or maybe you didn't see that play coming from me, which is my best hope, but I think the damage is sorry guys. Excuse me. Damage is already done. Yeah, if my opponent has, I guess they can electrolyze. If my opponent electrolyzes, I think I do dispel. Denies them a draw. Keeps my Colonnade alive for future blocking. Means that I can go Cryptic tap my opponent's team. Alright. You got the remand. They've always got the remand. No remand. Okay. Serum Visions. Sure. Let's see how they scry. Bottom. Top. Okay. Jeez. So we have enough for Cryptic, tap, plus Logic Knot, so I'm going to go ahead and get another Colonnade down here. Yeah, we're digging hard for go ahead and tap my opponent's team and draw a card. Looking for some answers in my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana open. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think Path to Exile is more useful than Dispel at this point in our graveyard, so let's go ahead and hit done there. Cross our fingers. Hope to die. Please give me another turn to maybe find Supreme Verdict. I'm the kind of person that will always play to my one of outs, as should everybody. This was my thought process of sometimes keeping in like a Terminus, but yeah. Alright. We're super dead here. We go down to, I guess, yeah. Guess if my opponent doesn't attack with everything, then I have Colonnade to block. I guess I shouldn't have F6, considering I have a Logic Knot for like a Lightning Bolt. Sulfur falls. And my opponent swings with everything. Right? Did I not? Oh, did I not tap enough? Go ahead and block here. And our opponent does not have to make any... I was just seeing if they maybe made a mistake. Looks like we're going to game 3 here. Let's go ahead and bring in... I mean, it might be just like hindsight bias, but Terminus feels like it should be in here. Kitchen Finks also doesn't seem too bad. But again, I don't feel like I want to play that tap-out game against my opponent. Let's just go ahead and run it back. I think we've got a good configuration here. It went well for us before. I think it can go well again. Just got to draw the right mix of cards here. And I would classify this as the right mix of cards. Now, I don't know exactly if my opponent kept in Blood Moons or not, but I'm going to still play around it because I can, and I have the luxury of doing so. Lands on top is good to see. I think I want to go top. So we still have all the basics we need against the Blood Moon, so I'm not too worried about Blood Moon here. Right. Serum Visions, sure. Top. Alright, looks like we're both on that top plan. Let's go ahead and just get down Colonnade here. I don't think there's any reason to keep up Logic Knot this turn. Turn 3 is usually Kiki's big turn, but I could see an argument if I suspect my opponent's on like a Search for Azcanta build, or if I saw Search for Azcanta. Right, opponent's going top here. It's a shame that we don't have Kitchen Finks right now, because that would be nice to slam down on turn 3 for sure. But what can you do? I think we just need to be sure to sequence our spells in a timely manner here. Ken?
10 minutes or so?
Yeah. 15. Okay, so now we just go ahead, play our land, keep up Logic Knot for any shenanigans. And we're in no rush to go anywhere. Our opponent has the advantage of having flash threats, but if we go ahead and counter them when we can, remove them when we can. Cryptic Command is like quite clunky, especially when my opponent plays remands and things like that. But ooh, wow. So Desolate Lighthouse definitely shifts the tide in my opponent's favor. There is an argument for just aggressively like bouncing one of their lands here. And I think I like that. Wow, was my opponent F6 there? Oh boy. Oh boy. That's rough. That is definitely rough. Yeah, those are the kind of things that just don't happen on paper, right? But my opponent discards the Serum Visions. Like, question is, do I want to like jam a Riverwise Augur now? It could just get remanded. Am I really upset if that happens? I don't think so. I think the only scenario where I'm really upset is if my opponent untaps Steam Vent into PN Kirnalar, which could definitely happen, but at least we have Detention Sphere to clean some of that up. Alright, looks like my opponent just plays Island instead of the steam vents that we know about. Alright, Serum Visions, yeah, let's go ahead. Well, we'll take Cryptic down for a turn. We still got Logic Knot up, though. Spreading Seas, Logic Knot, Plains. I think we want the Plains. I don't know about the Logic Knot, though. So I'm going to go ahead and say bottom top, and I am not going to cast my Logic Knot right now. So I want to, again, be able to counter a P&Q and Alar if such a card were to come down. Okay, that was not what I meant to do. I imagine my opponent takes Logic Knot now, and then we're in a really, really awkward spot. Yeah, I did not mean to let this click resolve. I was definitely gonna Logic Knot that click. It's possible they had Dispel backup, but that doesn't matter. Did they just leave us with everything? That's a risky play. I guess they don't want to draw us into more lands. Their play made a lot of sense if they had a Dispel, but then our turn here would be a lot better. Mountain. Yeah, they definitely have the Dispel now, but I think we fight over it regardless. Delve equals 1, 2, X equals 4. Yeah, yep. We predicted such a turn of events that could possibly happen that way. Here the question is, what do we want a Detention Sphere? We could Detention Sphere the P and Kiran Alar. Alternatively, we can Detention Sphere the Thopters if we think we'll ever get to Venser stuff, but I think our best avenue to victory here is, well, step 1 I think is going to be to Spreading Seas the steam vents, keep them off of red, off of burn spells, and Treat the Angels would be nice in another world. This is not that world. Man, this game would be totally different if we didn't just let this Vendilion click resolve. I think it would have been a bit of a different game. But P and Cure represents a lot of damage by chucking Thopters. So I think I take the P and Cure Alar. Might be wrong. Maybe the Thopters present more of an issue here than anything. So Dispel here would be a nice draw, I think. Looks like they have more red sources. Path to Exile means we might have a chance. Okay, they're going to end step Deceiver Exarch, huh? Let's see what they want to target. I think I'm going to let that resolve. Alright, I'm going to Path to Exile the Vendilion click. Oh my god! The punts, because now I don't have Snapcat, or I don't have Cryptic Command. Sure. Okay. We can still snap Path after Dispel resolves. My opponent's running out of time here. They did not play their clock game very well. It's still possible they have the kill here, I think. No, not quite. Not quite. They would need land. No, they don't quite have the kill here, I think. We definitely trade Snapcaster mages here to preserve our life total as best as possible. Opponent plays land, runs out of time. No, okay. They're sitting on 1 clock. We have Cryptic Command to tap their team. Oh my god, what am I doing here? Well, okay, wow, alright. I mean, clock game is part of Magic Online. Like, normally in a paper tournament, you would either both play faster or call out your opponent for slow play and things like that. But wow, that was a close game. These blue mirrors can be really intense. So we got to do our thing in game 1, which was really awesome. We didn't quite get there in game 2, and game 3 could have gone either way. But my guess is my opponent had a pretty good you know, could get us here pretty well. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. That was the 3rd match here with blue-white make your own Jace the Mind Sculptor. Stay tuned for the closing comments coming up really soon. Alright guys, welcome back to the closing comments here with blue-white make your own Jace the Mind Sculptor. I hope you had a lot of fun watching that gameplay, because I did. I had a lot of fun playing it, right? There was a lot of grindy interactions, a lot of draw 3s and +2s and counter spells and stuff like that. So I had a lot of fun. Let's talk about how the deck performed, right? So match 1 we were playing against what, mono white, Death and Taxes, which we were able to beat in 3 games, I believe. So that matchup, you know, can be pretty close, and it really goes down to the wire. You got to make some tight plays. They can really punish you, but I think we ended up getting there. Interestingly enough, you know, even though they are a creature-based deck, you know, this can be quite hard to actually pull off, especially when they have stuff like Aether Vial, where their stuff comes in at instant speed, and they don't have to commit to the board until they know what's going on at sorcery speed. Match 2, what did we play against? We played against that 5-color Gifts and Given deck, and it's nice to know that our deck can beat a brew, right? It's really important that when you're playing your own brew, that you don't just necessarily be able to beat the tier 1 decks, that you're able to beat the tier 2, and then developing competitive, and then etc, right? Because if your deck just beats the tier 1 decks, like, sure, you'll beat the tier 1 decks, but sometimes, you know, as wide of a format as Modern is, you have to be able to beat other decks in the format. And then match 3 against Blue-Red Kiki. Man, those were some crazy games, right? We got 2 Venser emblems in game 1. Venser working overtime there, right? Way overtime. But then it obviously gets pretty tough in game 2 and 3, where they bring in things like Dispel, P&Kir, and Alar. Those cards are hard to deal with, especially when we're on the Terminus plan for a sweeper. And that means Supreme Verdict. We only have 1 of them, unlike Blue-White Control, which can keep up to 3 to 4 copies in the 75. And we could do that as well, right? So let's talk about ways to improve the deck. So the blue-based matchups can be pretty tough, especially ones with those flash threats like Blue-Red Kiki, maybe even Through the Breach. But maybe let's talk about ways to improve the deck. So ultimately, what I really liked was the mana base. I think the 24 lands that we have here do just fine. Again, 4 Path to Exiles, 4 Serum Visions does the trick. 4 Spreading Seas, 2 Snapcaster Mage, 2 Logic Knot, Search for Scantha. I think these are all great. I think the 1 of Search is good. I don't think we need to overextend with 2 searches. And what I really liked, I'll be honest guys, was 2 Click, 2 D-Sphere. I think Vendilion Click gives us a lot of game against really weird things happening, gives us a clock, gives us pressure, and something that's sometimes something we're lacking, right? Because what Blue-White Control can do is play Gideon of the Trials. It can play Gideon Jura, and these threats can swing in big time. So maybe what we're missing here is something that's less synergy based that can also start applying pressure. And I think that's Click, but maybe it's something else too. Maybe it's something like Gideon of the Trials himself, you know. I'm not quite sure, but it's something to consider. 3 Cryptic Command might be a little too much. We may want to trim on the 4-drop slot, right? Because we have, you know, 3 Cryptics here, and then we have Supreme Verdict, and then we have 4 Riverwise Augur. So there were times where we drew a hand that was like all 4 drops and like 3 lands, and that's just not keepable in Modern, you know, especially in the dark. You don't know what you're up against. No way you can keep that if you expect to win that game in the dark. Entreat the Angels was cool. Again, this miracle aspect is awesome, but it's quite clunky at times, and it's hard to pull off with 4 mana. But it does happen sometimes, especially against the less interactive decks. Terminus, still a great card, and I would play it again. So ultimately, I think the overall configuration of the 60 is pretty solid. I'm happy that I cut Telling Time. Telling Time was originally in the 60. I don't think it's worth it. It's better just, you know, play more streamlined. Venser, oh my god, Venser is probably the biggest reason to play. Like, it's so powerful. Its emblem wins the game essentially over a few turns. And the fact that you can emblem and then play it again and then work towards embleming again, it's just obviously, like, you can think of that as dirtle, but it's definitely a win condition. It's possible we should be playing more ETB effects. So sometimes we didn't want to blink Spreading Seas against Blue-Red Kiki. We actually wished we had a Wall of Omens in place so we could just keep blinking that instead. So, you know, maybe Wall of Omens is something to consider. Ruin Halo is definitely a card to consider. The fact that you can name something and then reset it with Venser if the game changes, if you answer a certain threat or something like that. So Ruin Halo is definitely a card I was considering, but I thought that was a little bit too tap out, considering we want to jam 4 drops, and that means we probably want to keep the board somewhat clear from turns 1 to 3 as best as we can. So Ruin Halo to me didn't seem like it quite fit the main deck, but it's definitely an option for the sideboard, I imagine. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I had a lot of fun building this deck. Let me know what you guys think about Riverwise Augur in Modern. I think it's a cool card, definitely expensive, but if you build a shell around it, you know, it can obviously win games like we won today. Anyways, that's all I have for you, and stay tuned for more Modern content and maybe some Standard content coming up in the coming days. I'll see you guys soon.